Hey, what's up, guys? Forget everything you've ever heard about clipping and how it can be bad. Uh, I run into people saying that they fear clipping and they think clipping will ruin everything. Clipping is the worst thing that can happen. Um, so I'm going to start off with the first common misconception, and that is if you go over 0 decibels in Ableton, you're clipping. Not necessarily. Ableton has an insane amount of headroom because it uses 32-bit floating point math of Doom, and it's really impossible to clip in Ableton. You can clip through plugins. Certain plugins can handle that when they work too hard above 0 dB. Some weird stuff starts to happen, but generally, like modern plugins, as opposed to the ones from 10 years ago, the TDM ones that if you went over 0, it would cause fuzzy distortion, bleh, and it wouldn't be too good. But anyway, what they used to do back in the day is they would run snares and claps through the whole song through a mixing console. And it was probably about as long as a car and as expensive as a car. And they would mix using a technique called clipping. And clipping is they would saturate or they'd boost the signal, so you get fold back in the waveform. So like a square or a sign would become a square, and that is clipping. It can't go beyond a certain point. And they would do that to make the claps and the snares poke through better. And if you listen to a lot of things, there's a lot of clipping going on. And there's some neat things afoot. So I have T-Rex, the classic kind of soft clipper, and I have a bass that I'll play now. Right, and in the context of the rest of the track, it kind of doesn't poke through that well. Right, so what I'm going to do is give it a bit of saturation or a bit of clipping. I'm going to clip it because I can do what I want. So with modern clipping plugins, if when the waveform gets above a certain point, it'll cut off like a straight line, or it'll kind of round off the edges. And there's other things like fold back, but we won't get into that. So I will use so this knob right here, it's the slope of the waveform, and it kind of shows you what it does. If it's right here, it's a very smooth kind of transition, and it just squishes it, but in a harmonic way. But if you kind of bring it up here, it's like a complete cutoff, and that is more so what a digital clipper would do. And the analog discs would be somewhere around here. They'd be a mixture of the two, because they'd have a bit of leeway. And I'm making up words. So what I'll do is I'll show you some stuff. So here is kind of a smooth kind of slope. I might want to turn it on. I'll turn it on. There we go. Hear that like kind of fuzziness? As I turn it up, it'll become more intense. Right, because it's kind of shaping the waveform. So what does this all mean? So basically what you're doing is you're keeping the volume, but you're making some of the harmonics louder per se, and making it fill up. So like you're making where it sits more dense. You're kind of killing off, but then adding some overtones, kind of like a guitar through an amp or a pedal. It's still like the same loudness in terms of like velocity of sound pressure, but it has a lot of meat in it, and that's basically what we're doing here. Right, so we have some gain reduction and some fun stuff is happening here, but the output is pretty much the same. I can even turn it up more. let's give it a listen to what it can do to your mix to bring it back up, which is the whole point of this video. Right, it kind of brings it up to the volume of the kick. Right, and it adds a bit of low end kind of fuzziness, which I approve of. Right, and it's only like a slight amount, and I can also add a bridge channel which has a slight bit of compression and some high end added. Well, quite a bit of high end, but whatever. Right, and that's why clipping is not the devil. Alrighty, take care.